I usually try to get this out pretty early in the month, but I kind of forgot. What's up, everyone? And I'm bringing you the tier list for this month, aka March 2022. This was not an easy. It's not going to be an easy tier list because thanks to the adventure engine, so many decks are topping. Like, there is so much diversity. Like, there's decks that I didn't think had the potential to ever top or topping. Even Blue Eyes is topped. And let's just get right into it. So here we are back on Tier Maker. Now, when putting decks in certain spots, take it with a little bit grain of salt because things have just been all over the place. Like, one deck, for one tournament, you'll see it. One deck get like 3 tops, and then next tournament it doesn't even top at all. Like, it's been such a wild format. So we got tier 0, 1, 1.5, 2, Rogue, and everything else. Now, I keep the tier 0 in, even though I don't think we haven't had like a tier 0 deck in quite some time. There may be a couple decks that I missed that have topped, because like I already got a pretty sizable amount, and outside of a couple of them, every one of these decks has topped an event. Yes, you see Blue Eyes, Cyberdark. Like, that's what I mean. It's such a diverse format. I'd say I got at least like the ones I saw the most, or that I saw like there might be a couple that I missed. Like, I saw like Dragoon got top. I didn't even put that in. So let's begin. First off, Emancipator. This is actually one I got a top with out of locals. And that the boards they can make is definitely pretty strong. But I'm actually gonna put this in like a tier 2. Actually, I'm gonna put it in Rogue. You know, I'm just gonna put it in Rogue. I'm putting it in Rogue because it seemed like maybe a top or 2, but it hasn't really been making its presence too well known. I think it's like cooling off a little bit. As much as I want to put it in like tier 2, I can't really put it any higher than Rogue, at least for now. Agnesser. It got 1 top, but it had a 1 top, and apparently that was like a budget top, and definitely something I don't expect to repeat. Agnesser is cool, but if you break their board, which isn't too hard to do, they're not going to have a lot of follow-up. Like, when I say it's as good as that Emancipator, no, it isn't. Tri-Brigade. This one's very interesting. I think I might have to put it in tier 2. The loss of the Resal starting to 1 and the Sovereignty to 0 definitely did seem to do a number on this deck, because Tri-Brigades, like, I wouldn't really say like their deck was strong because of consistency. It was strong because of good cards. For example, like the Sovereign, which basically allowed you to set up Avion or the Barry Statue of Stormwinds, and now you can't really even do that, so it really lost its like the card that essentially got the most wins. Now it's gotta rely on stuff like Utopic Future, maybe the Double Dragon Lords, a couple other things. Although thankfully it's still seeing play, definitely, and I feel like it's still being innovated. Like, I've seen a few other versions kind of run here. Like, I've seen Melfi Tri-Brigade, obviously Lone Light Tri-Brigade. And another one which I'll get to later on this list. But I don't think I can put it any higher than tier 2. Next, Zodiac's got top. I don't know how that happened, but do I expect that to happen again? Absolutely not. It was just the 1 top, and it was probably made like a Zeus turbo kind of thing. I don't think it was I don't see that continuing to happen. Zodiacs have like 3 cards banned, and with those 3 bans, I don't think it really has the potential. Like I used to say, you can't top with like any deck, but Zodiacs, it got the 1 top, but I wouldn't expect it to top. It might top again, but it's not going to be a regular top. Same, it got another top, but its tops are very hit here and there, and the deck just overall, I wouldn't say is as strong as that Emancipator Dragon. Now this is actually one that's been seeing a bit of a resurgence and a bit of innovation. Like I see decks are now playing the Black Metal Dragon, which is odd, but seems to be working. And it's because like there's just so many dragons you can abuse. Like the deck's always just gonna find something to kind of like make itself really good. I'm actually gonna put this in the tier 1.5. I definitely think this deck has potential. I wouldn't say it's the best deck of the format. Like, I'd definitely say it's better than Tri-Brigade, but not by a very large margin. Mutants, they got top. And this is actually a deck that I'm working on right now. And I can definitely see why it got a top. Because Mutants, they kind of do this more of a control game, kind of like what Sky Striker does. Instead of using actual traps as opposed to hand traps, because basically you're just going to get out the Phoenix Force or either Ultimus or Synthesis, and you're just going to use your traps to basically just control the game. Pretty strong, but I don't really think... I think it's still a ways away from being considered rogue. Laundries. This was very interesting. This one has been seeing consistent tops as I knew it would be. Because I knew once that a new spell card came out, the Advent of Adventure, it was definitely going to be probably one of the best decks of the format, and obviously it is. Definitely going to put it at tier 1.5. I wouldn't say it's tier 1. Maybe like borderline tier 1. Actually, I am going to put it at tier 1. I'm going to put it at tier 1.5. Laundry's is able just to make such great boards, considering you can just basically... Empen can most often times win games on its own. And then you also got the Storms, which you can just normal summon. You don't need the Bird of Sovereignty. And with the new spell card, it just allows you to search things and dodge things, which is really cool. You can book a moon to dodge. It's just got so much at its disposal, and it's just really powerful. Next, Cosmo. Cosmo got a top. Not too surprised. Cosmo is has always been a good deck. Just hasn't really been. Well, it was competitive once, and I remember I think it had a card that was limited, semi-limited. I don't remember. But I'd say it's more so rogue. Very low rogue. Kind of maybe closer to everything else, but I'm going to put it on rogue for now. I would say you could definitely do a lot of things, and it kind of controls the game in a similar way as to like the Mutants and Sky Strikers. You want to control the game, and if you're not able to, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle. Virtual World. I'd actually put this at a tier 1. This is definitely looking to be one of the best decks for the format. It's getting consistent tops. It's been evolving. Like now people are playing punk stuff in it. They're also playing the Grave Engine. Like having a 3 E-Tele has obviously made a difference, as well as just so much other things they can do. It's just an overall really powerful deck, and I definitely say this is definitely one of the decks you need to watch out for. Maybe most in this format. I would say it's like the highest on the tier 1, because I already know like what the best deck is, but we haven't gotten to it yet. Guru Control. Got a top, but it's not really doing much outside of that one top. Guru's nice, but again, same problem as like mutants. If you're not able to control it with your traps, you're going to be very limited in what you can do. Mermails. Cool deck, but everything else, it's only got the one top. Same with Sharks. Maybe once the new stuff comes out, it might be seeing more play, but until it comes out, I'd say this is pretty much where it's going to be in the everything else. But definitely something you need to keep an eye on, at least. I'd say everything on this list is something to at least think about, because people have topped with these decks. Tenyi or Tenyi Synchro. This has actually been popping up as well, kind of consistently at that. Instead of focusing more on the Sword Soul side of things, the Tenyi Synchro focuses more on the Tenyi side of things. And Tenyis, I knew they already had that, they always had the potential, and now they're like really kind of sticking out. I would definitely say this is probably like, I'd say a tier 2. It's seeing a lot of play, but it's not seeing as much as like Dragon Link or Floaters. Next we got the Shaddoll Dogmatica Invoked. Honestly, this deck's kind of been going downhill a little bit, and I really haven't been seeing it a lot. Like in tournaments, it's been going down. Like even at my own locals, where I used to see it like all the time, I really haven't been seeing it. I haven't gone against this deck in a good minute. It's been seeing a little bit of decline, so I definitely put it with like. It still has topped events, but I'd say it's more in like the same as with like Tri-Brigade. It's topping events, but it's not topping every event. Plunder Patrol. I'm gonna put this one in Rogue, because I feel like Plunders are slowly on the rise. And I really can't say anything about this deck because I know nothing. I haven't played against it, I haven't seen it, I haven't used it. I don't know a single thing that this deck does. So it could have some really broken combo that's maybe now seeing play or something like that. I really don't know. All I know is that it topped, and I think it's got like 2 tops, maybe 3, that I know of. So I definitely think it's on the rise. So this one's a little bit iffy to me. True Draco got top, but with skill during the 3, a lot of trap decks are going to be. But I'd still put it in everything else. Like, it's got 1 top. That's all I saw. I saw the 1 top. Cleaforce topped, surprisingly. But yeah, that's the one that got top. It's surprising to see a card like a Cleafort, or a deck like Cleafort's top, considering ever since Links came out, this deck's kind of like been not too great. Lightsworn's topped. It was a very weird Lightsworn top. Like I saw the deck profile of it, and it was weird. I couldn't really describe it. Lightsworns, it's really hard to kind of like judge, because they can be really good or they can be really bad, depending on your mills. Could this potentially top again? I would definitely say yes. I feel more comfortable putting it in the Rogue category. I do think this is one I could see more tops. Salamangrate's got top. Again, while it was nice to them getting Salamangrate circled to 2, And on the next list, it'll probably go to 3. I think they could just bring most of the Salamander cards. You could probably bring all of them back, and it would definitely make this deck probably like a tier 2 at least. I'm gonna put it in like a high rogue. It's getting a couple tops, but it's still just not quite there yet. It's getting closer. I guess you could say it's warming up. Fire Fist. This was mainly because of Tri-Brigade. So there's like a Fire Fist, Tri-Brigade sort of thing. I don't really see that happening too much because in terms of what deck best uses the Tri-Brigade, it'd still be Lureless or Lunalight. Zector's got top. As much as I like Zectors, they're just not rogue. Zector's pretty cool and can potentially be build really insane boards. Like, obviously, if well, no, technically I haven't uploaded my Insector deck profile, but in one turn you can make a board of Access Code and Yugioh. Because since the Emancipator Dragon does not have a hard once per turn and it's just a soft once per turn, which is all the Insectors, basically you could just keep summoning it and keep reusing it. Like, there'll be turns where I activate like 4 Dragonflies. I remember in I took it to a tournament once just because I forgot my main deck, and I just grabbed that because that was like the best deck I had on me. And I activated like my 4th Dragonfly. He's just like, how many times are you going to activate that? Because you can activate it pretty often. But as cool as that is, this deck does have a problem with bricking. Because if you don't have Dragonfly and one of the equip ones, or Dragonfly, or an Insector and the Kou, it's pretty rough. Like, if you just open one Insector card, not really much you can do. Sky Striker. You know, I thought with the loss of Imperial Order, or the fact that Imperial got banned, I figured this deck would be like tier 1.5, but honestly, I haven't really been seeing it that much. Like, it got worse when Order was banned. Like, however that makes sense. But once the new cards come out, it will definitely probably be sitting somewhere around here. I'm still going to put in like a tier 2 because it's still a very powerful deck. While it is similar to like a Cosmo, Mutants, and kind of play out more of a control game, Sky Strikers I'd definitely say is the best at doing that. Cyberdarks. They got a top, but don't expect that to continue. Blue Eyes. Someone topped with Blue Eyes. I never thought I'd be saying that again. I would say everything else. Like, it's more likely to top than, I'd say, some of these decks. But that's just because there are a lot of people who love Blue Eyes and just want to do everything they can to make it top. Phantom Knights. It's shocking how... Honestly, I thought this was going to be the best deck. Like, I believe on the last tier list, I had it like tier 1. But honestly, it's more of a tier 1.5. On the lower end at that. If anything, I might knock it down to here. I guess it's not the best deck that uses the adventure cards. Lunalight Tri-Brigade. If you don't know, from my deck profile, I actually topped, I went X1 with this. It probably would have been. I probably would have gone undefeated with it, except my opponent opened Forbidden Droplet twice, and I put such an insane board. Like I had a 4 negate Appaloosa, Cyber Dragon Infinity, Scythe Lock, and it just dropped it. I'm like, oh, have fun. This deck is definitely one that is, I'd say, heavily underrated. It has been getting tops, but I feel like a lot of people just aren't really thinking about this. Like when they think of Tri Brigade, they think of Lyreless Tri Brigade, and think that that's the best route. I don't think that is the case anymore. Because while getting Tyre back to 1, it definitely really helps out this deck a lot. Honestly, even pure version is strong. I mainly run the Tri Brigade variant, just more or less it's the bait. I'm gonna put this in tier 2 because I will still say the power level is on par. Like usually when I activate Fractal, you want to Ash it, go right ahead because most often times that's just the bait for you to use your Ash. Dinos have gotten to top. I'd definitely say it's a rogue deck. I feel like if I put it with everything else, like if I were to compare it to like Sharks, Cyberdarks, Dinos is much better than those decks. But would I say it's better than something like Salamangreat, Cosmo? I've actually I put it on the same level as those decks. Maybe slightly weaker. Exosister has got some tops, and I'm actually going to put this in the rogue because it's seen more than one top. Obviously, it's a relatively new deck, so one advantage is that a lot of people may not know how to play against it, but they also might not know how to play it as well. And the cool thing with the Exosisters is they're, in a way, basically they're Zodiacs in a kind of a way, although they can't just summon on some of the XYZ monsters out for free. But considering there's so much grave interaction in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it might as well be. DDDs. These have been getting tops consistently. Not like all the time, but I would definitely say this is a high rogue. You definitely want to keep an eye out for DDDs because they can take events. Despia. I'm putting it in everything else. I know there's a lot of people out there say, oh, it's harder than that. Yeah, I'm not really seeing the results. Like, I got maybe a top or two, but it just hasn't really been able to maintain that for a whole lot. Like, it's not really making those top cut conversions as often. Maybe once the structure that comes out, it'll probably be higher, but for right now, I wouldn't. It's weaker than Cosmos and Dinos and Salamangreats. Life Twins. They got a top, but it was just the one top. I don't expect that to continue. No. Mech Knights. Mech Knights have seen a surge, but I think it's finally starting to cool down. Although it's definitely a deck you still need to keep an eye on. I would probably put it in the rogue category because obviously you can play Mech Knight and Vogue, Crusader Mech Knight. There's many ways you can play Mech Knights. Thunder Dragon's got top. I don't really think that's going to continue. Drytron. Rogue at best. I really want to put in everything else because honestly, I've been looking and I haven't really been seeing it get tops. In fact, most people who I know who play Drytrons kind of just moved on from it. I guess Eva getting banned was definitely the nail in the coffin. It can still top. Obviously, it's still a good deck, but would I say it's likely to win against something like maybe Dinos or Emancipator? Not a whole lot. Dragon Maids. It's a fun deck. It can get a top here or there, but I don't think that's likely to continue. Eldritch. I really don't want to put this where I'm going to be putting it. It's been getting tops consistently. Honestly, I don't like Eldritch. More so because it plays like a lot of those cards like Skill Drain. Yeah, that was a good idea to bring Skill Drain to 3. Hopefully they put it back to 1 next list. Because Skill Drain, it definitely helps out like a lot of those control stun decks, but no one likes playing against those. Dolce, honestly, it hasn't really been doing a whole lot, at least nothing that I've seen. So right now I'm just going to be keeping it and everything else. Dinomorphia got a top. I've been trying to like get the cards for this deck. I still don't know what this deck does, how it functions. So I can't really say much on the Dinomorphias, but I'd say for right now, everything else that's pretty reasonable. Goki got a top. But again, that's still just everything else. I'm going to put it tier 1.5. I definitely think Sword Soul and Floowandereeze are kind of like on the same sort of level now. While they did lose Arch Nemesis Protos, it doesn't really hurt the deck too much in all honesty. Sword Soul, or the Arch Nemesis Protos, is essentially Arch Nemesis Protos was good because of Sword Soul. Sword Soul was not good because of Protos. Sword Soul is just an overall really solid deck. And then you just throw Protos in there and it's another good card to go with it. Losing Protos doesn't weaken the deck really at all. Monarch's got a top. Odd, but do I think that's going to continue? Not really. Monarchs, they can still be pretty bricky. Prank Kids. Best deck of the format. I've been seeing a lot of Prank Kids. And apparently, the Adventure Engine works more in Prank Kids than it does Phantom Knights. I definitely consider Prank Kids the best deck of the formats. If I have to pick anything else, it'd be like Virtual Rule, maybe Floowandereeze, Sword Soul, and Dragon Link. Tier 1 engine. I'm just putting it there because it's an engine that's seeing play in multiple decks. So as an engine, very good. Technically, it's a deck. It's an archetype, but... And I kind of just want to talk about like this for a little bit. The adventure archetype, or engine, however you want to call it, honestly, I think it's been really good for Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a lot of decks that like wouldn't be able to top if this wasn't a thing. It's like Adventure ABC, Adventure this, Adventure that. And it's really helping these decks become a lot stronger. So I definitely think that is a good thing. And it really helps us to have a more diverse format. Great Keepers also had a top, but this is a deck that's just going to top occasionally. So this is what I'd say. This is my tier list. Obviously, some things can change depending on how the format evolves. Obviously, like it's such a crazy format that you never know. Next month, this could be right here. This could be right here. Like it's been such a active and revolving diverse format, if that's even English. And yep, that's really gonna be all for this video. Let me know what you think. Is there any decks I missed? Probably. Because I most likely missed your favorite deck. And see you in the next video I make. Bye.